Hello again and welcome to another edition of Shed Talk, and the first in Series 2, so a new year of Shed Talk, so Series 2, Episode 1. Thanks for all the feedback you gave me on the last few videos, and in particular some of the kind comments about the Shed Talk 1 year on and how much most of you seem to be enjoying these videos. So it really is much appreciated, particularly those of you who have stuck with the channel for so long. And I know there are some of you that have been subscribed to the channel for a considerable amount of time. Of course, if you haven't subscribed, then I suppose the question is why not? So please do subscribe. Hit the like button, subscribe button if you want early notifications. Don't forget to hit the bell. Well, I've just been spraying the birds again. I've got another show coming up. The Mid-Essex, I think it is. Hopefully I will get a video out on that one shortly after, or a video out of the birds at that show shortly after the show is completed. Well, it has been a little while since I've done a shed update, so what I thought I'd do in this video, being the first, is just talk you through the various cages and flights, let you know what's going on in each of them and what my plans are, and then a little bit about my plans for September and going into October. So without any further delay, let's start with the final breeding cage. So this here is the final breeding cage. I suppose just a quick update on the chicks that were in here. You might remember that I removed the cockbird hen. This hen is a bit of a feather plucker. I was then intending to leave the hen just to bring up all of the remaining chicks, of which there were, I think there were 3 the last time we looked in the nest box. Unfortunately, the hen, I think, had enough with breeding and started to not feed them as well as she could have done. A couple of them got quite weak, and we lost 2 of them, 2 of those, the 3 that were in there. Final one survived, as you can see. It's one of the ones that is feather plucked. I'll just see if I can zoom in a little bit on that chick. It's very bouncy at the moment. There we go, just got some of him feeding, or it feeding. So yeah, a little bit feather plucked, not the greatest of birds. It might grow a little bit now it's feeding itself. The plan is for very shortly to move this chick that has been feeding itself for a little while now, well over a week, into the nursery flight with all the other youngsters, and then the hen can go back into the hen flight for a well-deserved break. As I say, she's been, I think she had a total of 4 rounds, so she can now have a nice long break, a nice long rest. So that's the final breeding cages. Once I've put this chick and this hen back in the main flights, respective flights, this cage will be cleaned out, ready for the start of the breeding season in October. Three of the empty breeding cages are currently being used to house some birds that I want to get out to the show, so my show team. It's a mixture of cocks and hens. This is the first 4 of them. The yellow-faced dominant pied is a different yellow face to the one I put out for Northampton show. That yellow face didn't do very, or the yellow face dominant pied that we put out for the Northampton show didn't do very well at all, so decided to swap it over. This one I think is missing a spot, so we'll see how much the judges penalise this dominant pied for having a spot missing. I've added some to the show team that I put out for Northampton, including the grey. You might remember from a very early video in Shed Talk that this grey I consider to be one of my best birds. He's not in the best condition at the moment. He's just come out of a molt and he's got quite a lot of pin feathers in his cap. I'm hoping that with some continuous spraying, most of those will be clear in time for the show. If not, I may consider holding him back for a later show and actually not putting him out if he's got too many pin feathers. Not really fair on the bird or the judge if he's that far out of condition. The grey-green that's in this cage only holding 2 at the moment, was the one that got best novice any age in Northampton, and the opaline cinnamon grey that's also in this cage got 3rd in the opaline rundown. So like I say, I'm hoping these 2 might do okay. At Mid-Essex. And then here are a few of the hens that are going out. One of the hens isn't in the best condition, and one of the cinnamon greys. And one of the other birds, a dominant pied hen, the ring was, when I got her out, the ring was very tight, so I've in effect half cut the ring to loosen it. So I'm wondering, I might consider whether or not to show that bird. I mean, it could win, but I suspect the judge will not want to give it any awards because of the way the ring's been damaged. So I'll have to think about that a little bit. But like I say, these birds are currently in the breeding cages, the empty breeding cages. I'm planning to, or hoping to move these once I've done some work on some old wooden breeding cages that I've got. I'll show you those at the end of the video and what my intention and what my plan is around those. So that's what I've currently got. That's currently the breeding, the show team that's out. So we can move on now to have a quick look at the nursery flight or the nappy flight. So here is the nursery flight, nappy flight, as you can see. All of the young birds that are not old enough to be in the main flight are now in here. I have moved that chick that we saw in the cage into here now. Nothing particularly catching my eye in here. There's a couple of birds. There's a light green that is looking reasonable and maybe a keeper, and then there's a grey that is a hen that I also think is going to be, might be quite useful in the breeding team for next year. So a couple there that I want to keep an eye on in that nappy flight. So in a very, very early video, I mentioned that I had some very old wooden breeding cages that I'd previously used. I think initially you would have seen them out in the main flight, so in the main shed outside, and then I brought them in here, and I said I was thinking about what I was going to do with them, whether I was going to renovate them, get rid of them, just and I said that would probably be a project for the summer. Well, actually, it's turned out to be a project for the autumn. So this is the old breeding cages that I've got, old wooden ones. I have a total of 3 of these, so they're double breeders, so 6 breeding cages altogether that are now being replaced with the all wire cages. As you can see, they are quite old and they've been a bit neglected. haven't used them for a considerable amount of time, got very dusty, and you can see that the budgerigars, when they were in them, the hens had a go at the wood, and some of the frames had become damaged and were patched up with bits of wire, and in fact the pull-out trays at the bottom of them, some of those have been quite badly damaged and again chewed by the hens. What I plan to do with these is to try and see if I can renovate them, but in particular the one you've got here, see if I can fix the cage fronts. Where some of the trays have been eaten and some haven't, I can swap those around, give them a thorough clean out, a spot of paint, and use these as additional stock cages for the show team and maybe for Salesbird as and when I've done a final sort out. So that's my plan. We'll look at those in the coming period, so over the next month or so, see how we get on with that. But in the meantime, that's about all I've got time for. I didn't show you the show cages. I have spent most of the last 2 or 3 weeks giving them a really good clean, and there's some work I need to do on those as well. Some of them, there's a couple that I haven't used for ages, and that really, they're so badly damaged and so old now that I can't really put them out, put showbirds in them. But overall, all of the show cages need a bit of a look at, and perhaps a dusting down and another coat of paint or whatever. So I'll probably be doing some of that as well over the coming month. But as I say, that's just about it. A very quick whiz round of the sheds and my plans. In the next video, we'll be beginning to look at sorting out the birds for the next breeding season. Of course, there's a couple of videos coming up, which includes the one that will hopefully a mid-Essex show video as well in between. But until the next time, please do stay safe and enjoy your birds.